Instagram fam, what's good? What is good? Okay, I'm committing. We're going live often and we're going to be expressing the truth. We're going to speak it, share it, and empower you, and it's going to help you big time. So if you're watching this replay, awesome. I'm actually going to bring a little special guest on, give you some clues, give you some ideas of who it is. We're going to talk about some reminders, right? Some reminders to help you guys come out better in the present moment, all through different ways, and we're going to see what resonates and what shows and what flows. So let me bring my, she's an amazing woman. I know her very good, very personal. She's actually right down the hall. And now she's right here. Hey! What's happening, everybody? So we'll get people piling on in. We're just going to flow. We both texted each other. We're like, all right, let's go live. And I told Jilly I'm going to make a commitment to get back to my lives at least 3 times a week. So I'm excited. How are you doing? How was your day today, Water Priestess? This is Jilly.
My day was beautifully expansive, grounding, excited for everything. I'm ready to share some codes.
What you got? What's on the menu? What's one word? What's the first drop that's coming in hot?
Well, I would say internal and external. External government.
Yeah.
It's crumbling, blah, blah, blah. And internal terrain with the way that we govern ourselves.
So it's almost like the external's crumbling a little bit. We want to make sure the internal stays intact and doesn't crumble with it.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing, is that I feel like whatever's not organic and of God's law is going to crumble. So the way that I've been seeing my reality through the lens of commerce is essentially just man-made law, structures, man-made systems, man-made, anything man-made, commercial, blah, 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 commodities, all of that, man-made. Now, the other side is God's law and natural law. And I've been curious about this in a more embodiment way of what does that actually look like in our daily lives to align ourselves to God's law, meaning that we all have God-given rights and that we all have an inheritance that we tap into, right? So what is natural law? What does the organic natural law look like without man-made constructs? And these systems, when you really understand commerce, it helps to see how these systems were kind of controlling us in a way of like, for example, debt, and the way that debt was controlling us, and the employee programming and all of that. So it's like, as these systems are crumbling, I feel like what I've been witnessing, especially here in San Diego, is so many people, nations are building. Like there's people gathering in San Diego. There's actually a gathering on Saturday I haven't told you about yet. And people are gathering to build these nations. And so my question to myself has been, what does natural law, what does God's law actually look like in my life? And where have I made my own man-made constructs as they're crumbling and dissolving in that way? So that's what I've really been tapping into lately, especially when it comes to just what's going on in the collective, and especially after the holidays, where so many people just went through it because their families are in different timelines. And it's really showed people their attachments to their families.
Yeah. The different timelines I feel is very relative, because you can be in one place at one time with 5 people and they could see the world in 5 different ways. And a lot of those ways, like you said, is not necessarily, God's way or the natural, like divine way. It's more of a construct. It's an illusion, a fabrication, right? The mental matrix, the limiting beliefs, the reward system, the problem, reaction, solution, all these like concepts they use to take you farther and farther and farther and farther away from the part that that's whole. And it's like, when you don't have that awareness and you don't know what's going on, anxiety manifests, right? Fear manifests, chaos, uncertainty, shame, projection, assumptions, you know, and then we go attack each other because we're basically trying to, like you said, like kids trying to figure out what's going on. We're just using all this fancy language, right?
Yeah.
This fancy language to get us out of like tickets and contracts and mandates and all this word magic that's being used. Elaborate a little bit on, for maybe some people on here who've never heard of these concepts. What's kind of a basic 5-year-old way of explaining kind of God's law and man law, or man-made? We got to drop mermaid. We got away from mermaid, right? Made by this, you know, ocean, and made by God, and went to man, and then man manipulates it, tweaks the words a little bit, takes out one, adds two, and now you have a whole completely like different fabrication of reality.
Right. Yeah. All right. So in government systems, there's man-made law and there's God's law.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Knowing first what God's law is really helpful, because that is the very foundation of what I build from and
Yeah.
understand it. So God's law is basically divine law. It's divine order. God's law is the knowing that we all have God-given rights that are just inherent. They're just there. I mean, that's just who we are. We are breathing natural peoples. There you go. Yeah.
Just giving up some visuals for people.
There we go. And when you're looking at God's law, it's often referred to as common law in commerce. So it's basically, as long as you don't injure anybody, there's a whole system around it called common law, if you want to look into it further. Now, man-made law is commercial law, is maritime admiralty law, is a man-made law created to commoditize human beings and put us into a system that profited off of us in a way. So when you know that difference, and when you know your rights, you don't have to fight for your rights. They're already inherent.
Mm-hmm.
It can get a little confusing to people when they first uncover common law, God's law, natural law, because there's a lot of different layers and perspectives on it.
Right.
So the first thing I want to say here is, once you know that difference, there's some books that I would recommend. Easy. Start with David E. Robinson, Meet Your Straw Man, How to Free Yourself from Legal Tyranny. Those are great books, that very short books.
Yeah.
Now, when it comes to listening to different lenses, there's just so many different things. There you go. I love it. And there's so many different perspectives on commerce in that way. So that's as simple as I can. Just knowing that difference. And
Yeah.
me, and with you, it reminds me of God's law is the right brain. There's no limits. It's growth. It focuses on opportunities. It focuses on wholeness, the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
And the left brain is man-made law. It's limiting, it's categorizing, it's commercial, it's commoditizing. It's like a headache.
But I love it. It fires me up. I love it. But that's where they trap people. They think we feel we're trapped, right, by the external, where in reality we're trapped by the internal, right, which is non-physical. It's energetic, it's psychological, it's emotional, it's mental. It's places where consciously it's hard to pinpoint it until you really take a step back and zoom out and like start putting those things together and know that it is very predicated along the lines of money. Yeah. And yet we're using a monetary system that actually is as valuable as monopoly. And we're proclaiming our worth, our value, our resume, our status, our ego, our greed, our attachments, and so forth from a dollar sign that was put on us literally because of what you were, like you said, we were born into this system that is set up to just be like a workforce, like just
Right.
a supply chain, just a supply, like chattel, like sheep and cattle, you know, in slaughterhouses.
Literally.
And we have no clue that we're being led to slaughter in a way. Not always just the physical, intense kind, just the obliteration of the freedom that we know we already have. A lot of us, we don't realize we're so free. We're already free. We just haven't demanded it and we haven't declared it and stated it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Devin's like, show us the mermaid tail. I'm making a reel. I'm with
Manifester, she's mad. She called you. She called it out.
um
What
yeah,
were those books? Someone was asking too, Jilly. What were those books you recommended? They're really good and they're easy reads too.
they are David E. Robinson, How to Free Yourself from Legal Tyranny is the first one. And then the second one is Meet Your Straw Man. And then, yeah, I would just start with those two. And then if you guys really want to go deeper, add yourself to my Telegram chat. I put all my resources on there, and I'm choosing to simplify all of this in the best way that I can, because I see it. I don't use consumer law and commerce to get money from the system or just not pay taxes. There's a lot of different things that are going on. I really bring it back to God's law, which is based on substance rather than man-made law, which is based on form. Which is why I bring the conversation of left and right brain, because everything that you're quad left, meaning you're all left brain. I'm all right brain. I mean,
Yeah, we're complete opposites. We're on the other side of the absolute world when it comes to like how we process and operate. And at the same time, we're like identical.
in certain ways, that's for sure. Okay, so I have a question for you.
Me?
I've been connecting these drops, right? And I've been like, I'm really studying commerce and God's law. You've really been studying like finance, business, entrepreneurship, and we really came together with our different lenses. And what I've been uncovering lately is like, what exactly, like, how is commercial law the left brain? So when I'm studying commercial law and I'm looking at man-made law and I'm looking at finances, I'm looking at debt as an illusion, I'm looking at employee consciousness, I'm like, this is all trapping people into the mind.
Yeah.
Right. So what have you noticed when it relates to like finances and money and the left brain, and what tools could we give people to get out of the freaking mind and into the
Yeah, well, I feel a lot of times people seek knowledge, they seek for information, they try to find it elsewhere when we forget our bodies have a lot of information. That's why the whole, like the sole purpose, since we were soul, like the sole of your feet, right? It's SOLE, and then you have SOL, then SOUL. The word soul is broken down in many ways, is that when you're born, they want to induce trauma in a typical birthing situation because they can start hacking your own database, which is your body. That's the right brain. That's like the unconscious, subconscious mind. The conscious mind in the left brain is really where you can say, you know, they talk about in religious biblical texts, like where man fell, so to speak. So when you're born, and you've gone over this with the doctor and the birthing and the cargo and the certificate of manifest, the birth certificate, well, what do they start doing? You're either getting a snip, right, for a male, you're going to have trauma there. So they're attacking your sexual energy right from literally within what? Days, minutes, I don't even know how soon. And then you're also getting injections into you.
Yeah.
You know, they're literally destroying your innate intelligence in your body as early as possible. So therefore the rest of your life, you're literally searching for the intelligence that is housed within your system right now. Well, it's like your fascia, your muscles, your chakra, all these different things, which are,
your water body.
Your water body. Yeah, exactly. They pollute your waters as soon as you're born. Now, that's why our waters in this world are so polluted. And so what happens is when your body's polluted, you're now losing your primary source of information. You're losing your primary source of insight, your primary source of awareness, your primary source of choice, of knowledge, of cognition, of clarity, of mindfulness, of peace, of presence. Because when you're in these states, there is no external mental matrix illusion that can actually be fabricated. And that's where it starts crumbling. And so what happens is over time that people lose connection with their body, and all of a sudden they become, like you said, boxed in. And you start as soon as you go to preschool, and then you go to kindergarten, and then you go to curriculum in grade school, and then you go into
domestication and colonization of the soul, pretty much. And monetize,
well, they're making us more dense, finding a way to make us more dense, because when you're more dense, you only look at one aspect of self, which is the physical. And most people don't believe there's anything outside of the physical. And that's why it's hard to comprehend, meditative states or psychological.
And that is commercial law.
There you go.
On form, whereas God's law is based on substance.
There you go.
Boom.
There you go.
That's the right brain.
Yeah. So our whole life, and again, this is not to speak for people who aren't maybe born in the United States. Like, this is just where we are. Different countries have different protocols. For the most part, though, education, a schooling system, some sort of advancement. So if you're outside looking in at this and you're looking to control this, well, you create systems. And that's why these systems are built. This illusion itself, that's, you said, man-made systems. They take God's innate intelligence from us, or they don't take it. They just keep us from observing it, feeling it, and witnessing it. And then they're able now to create external curriculum, circumstances where now you are dependent on it, right? We've become aware, and we've become a society where we believe of dependency, codependency, dependency on things external in order to find the internal, attachments, expectations not being met. And over time, with teenage years into middle teens, young 20s, 30s, each year there's like a different scenario or challenge, whether it's getting your driver's license, being legalized to vote, the drinking age, right? The 25-year-old, like the magic play number, like all these different times in our life is expressed in a way that keeps us from knowing which way to go next. And I think that's hard for people to comprehend it. At the same time, it's empowering. With getting back to like the mindset of it, when you're boxed into your left brain, and it's a tight box that we literally put ourselves in. And so much of society, if you look out in big cities and schools, you see squares and straight lines and angles everywhere. When you get out in nature, it's a completely different experience. It's almost like you're able to, they say recreation, right? A good word that came up today was recreation, right? What are recreational things we do in order to recreate ourselves to come from a place of wholeness? So the man-made commercial,
essentially what we're getting at, and for people who are like, well, what's the end goal, what's the North Star, is wholeness. That's God's law, is wholeness. So that the mind and society, the systems have created, anything that gets you disassociated from your wholeness is what we're talking about right now.
Exactly. And that wholeness, comes from within. There's different ways to even express it. Wholeness of feeling complete, feeling seen, feeling worthy. Because when you're lacking something, when you're missing something, the brain loves to find out ways to fulfill it. It loves to find things to keep it distracted and keep it from doing things. And it's not necessarily the whole brain. It's parts of your brain. We have so many different parts of our brain. We just think we have one brain up here. And some people go, oh, we have two brains, your gut. I'm like, well, we have more than two brains. Those are two of the biggest ones. There are different components and different compartments of our brain. There's more neurons, and they're called dendrites, which is basically like the tree and the branches in our brain than there is in the universe. So they say, oh, you create everything from the internal. Well, yeah, because it all can be fit in here. All the minerals in the ocean are in your body. All the neurons, the stars in the sky are in your mind. All these things that go so correlated. So when you come from a place of, I guess, what's the opposite of not wholeness? Like searching, or like fragmented. There you go. Fragmented. So a lot of people today, you may feel, that's a powerful word, like being fragmented, like you just like shattered and all over in a bunch of pieces. And people are trying to put the pieces together, and they're trying to figure it out. They're trying to think it instead of feel it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're starting to think it instead of feel it. Remember, your body knows how to put the pieces together.
Yes.
So, so that's why it's so hard sometimes for people to stay still, for people not to tap on your toes, to
Yeah.
bite your fingernails, to keep looking around every 5 seconds, to keep playing with your face, keep playing with your body. If you pause in those moments, your body's trying to get your attention. And when you start listening to it, which you show me how to do tremendously, there's wisdom there. There's clarity there. There's answers there. There's you're putting your pieces back together. You're taking care of yourself. You know, you're hydrating yourself. You're doing these things that are going to give you more clarity, cognition, more awareness. There was a whole quote that they said, if you removed alcohol, what was it? Alcohol, tobacco, and one more thing from the streets, they would have to call the tanks out to protect the government from people because of how powerful we can literally become in one day. Like, if all those things that are meant to distort you from your wholeness and try to fractal your brain, try to fractal your heart, your liver, your gut, they try to, it's literally a war on all fronts without creating any fear in people. It's awareness. There's literally a silent war happening, and it's a way to find a way for them to break the wholeness and fractal it. And so we're now disconnected and discombobulated. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's in what you just said about our when we feel fragmented. It reminds me, I just visualize like this desert ground with all these cracks in it. And when those fragmentations are happening, these little cracks are happening, it's like your mind tries to fill those cracks with things, people, scrolling, distractions, stories, other people's business, gossip, everything. And one of the most beautiful things about what we're doing right now with the 90-day rain, the 90-day shower, is that we're saying no more distractions. We are focusing. And one of the things that I've been tapping into is that we as a community are fully coming back into our wholeness by allowing ourselves to focus. And like you said, with the brain, and you did a training on it, with the brain being able to focus on one thing at a time and
Mm-hmm.
wholeness in the moment, and to what I like to say is build from a place of parasympathetic. We are coming back to that wholeness where so much of society is give your power away. Somebody said, you put somebody on a pedestal like a biohuman optimizer, somebody who biohacks, and you think they know more about your body than you do, right? And it's like, we get that because we share the water, we share different things that worked for us, and we get people saying, no, that's not right, no, this is this and that is that, and we're like, why don't you just ask your body instead of listen to all these left brain things from the other people? And
Mm-hmm.
it's a war on this information of what is right, what is, it's for me being so right brained, it's very black and white, and it's very forceful, and it can be very draining for people to constantly be told what to do next, what to be
Yeah.
scared of. And being able to hold that while society is going through that, that's why, like, that concept of God's law for me is, I'm like, you know what, I know my God-given gifts, like
Mm-hmm.
them,
Mm-hmm.
fully trust and have faith in whatever happens is for me, and that being able to be in that wholeness with a society that's falling apart, it's bringing us back to ourselves, even though it feels like we're breaking apart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's also good to know that, like, the breaking apart, you guys, it doesn't always have to be a bad thing. I feel like we're so programmed to look at what what isn't, rather than what is in society. And then what happens is, when you focus on what isn't, something like breaking apart, falling apart, chaos ensuing, it becomes a negative thing, right? Instead of what is happening. And when you say what is happening, it's like more of it's called a devolution. So, like, kind of what you're saying, it's like something crumbling from the inside out. It's called devolution. And that's what's happening actually on a bigger level right now. And most people don't know what that actually is, what that entails. It's like having a bubble and going right into the middle of the bubble poking a hole and then having it drain from the inside out. So on the outside, it's just shrinking, right? It's collapsing. And that collapsing, right, people associate as a bad thing, as a terrible thing, as a scary thing. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. No, and that's where we're literally like every day, it's collapsing more and more and more and more to get to that one point where the polarities flip and now everything comes out to light and things start coming to the surface. And what happens is we forget that the brain only has the ability to process and hold so much information at once. If you're listening to things and if you're listening to other people, even us, like we tell you, use your own discernment, ask yourself, don't believe us, double check, question things, you know, connect what resonates, leave the rest. If you're allowing external things to come onto your stage, right, which we have our prefrontal cortex, which is really fascinating. We only have so much room on there for so many thoughts. And when you put too many actors on a stage, like in Broadway, what happens? Everyone gets their lines mixed up. Everyone's trying to, you know, say their lines first instead of wait for their turn and wait for their patience. And so right now you might have 20 different actors on your stage, literally in your head. Your parents, your favorite TV people, your news anchor, your coach, your pastor, your friend, your next door neighbor, your coworker, your business partner, your dog, your clients, your followers, your email list. All those people can become actors on your stage if you're not aware of how many people you're letting on. Because once you get the right actors on the stage at the right time, saying the right scripts with the right lighting, by your cognition, by your presence, by your peace of mind, by your parasympathetic, slowing down rather than trying to add more and speed up to figure it out, feel it out, your play starts getting easier to see. And you literally start realizing that you are the director. You're the composer of this play. And we forget that at times. We forget that we feel someone else out there in a high office, in a government place, in a student body, in a bank, in a gym, whatever, has some sort of hierarchy above us just because of, like you said, the left brain labels that we gave it since day one, you know? And then going forward with, I guess, what's I was going to say something, it just got blank. What would you say to people right now that are on, let's say, a fear timeline or like a doom timeline? Or because for me, I see this is the greatest thing is happening right now because everything is speeding up so fast. To really go to this bad timeline, it would take a lot longer, which was the original kind of timeline itself, to 2025. If you were in someone's shoes who's experiencing anxiety, fear, uncertainty, overthinking, stress, and if you were to jump in their shoes, what would you say to them, or what would be something that could help them as they're navigating right now in the way the world works, beginning of 2022? What would you say to that?
Well, number one thing is I feel you. You know, when you have a timeline that has very realistic theories on it, you know, there's evidence and there's information and there's people that are on that timeline. Something that I would invite you to do is come back to the current moment in the right now, because oftentimes we get so paralyzed and overstimulated by the goal, the end goal, the, you know, the fear, the future, and everything that's happening in the future, and it takes us out of the current moment. And that's really common with the mind. The mind often grasps on to certainty in the future to help cope with the uncertainty in the now.
Mm-hmm.
You're trying to grab on and you're holding on so tight to certain ideals and even some conspiracy theories, you know, like there's fear in a lot of it. And if
Mm-hmm.
you're so certain about those things and yet you're suffering in the current moment, you're bypassing yourself. And that could be an addiction. That could be an addiction to suffering. That could be. This is just for reflection. So
Mm-hmm.
essentially be aware of what's taking you out of the moment. And our mind has been programmed to look outside of ourselves for the certainty in order to feel safe. Our mind is programmed to look for that certainty information because we've been told that that's safe to know and be certain. Like, okay, that's false sense of security because life is uncertain. It's fluid. It's always moving, unknown. So there is this subscription that you have to ask, or you choose to ask yourself, like, wow, is this taking me out of the moment? And how can I come back into the moment in the now and meet myself where I'm at and do what I can with what I have? Because it's about the journey. It's not just about the end goal. You know, it's not just about let's all create a sovereign economy right here, right now, and live in these ways. Like, we are meant to experience all that is here for us in this now. And even if it's hard, even if it's uncomfortable, even if you want to give up and you just want it all to stop, your current is going to flow anyway. Your heart's still going to beat. Your breath is still going to breathe. So be in that and come back to that moment, because that's all the mind. And what I found so fascinating about anxiety is that anxiety is like a constant dam. It's like you're denying what's happening in the current moment and you're trying to control the outcome. And it's like, that is a program. You know, what do you say? Cancel, delete.
Cancel, clear.
Cancel, clear. Right. And when you know that that's a program and it isn't organic, can you really come to that knowing that you don't have to suffer like that anymore, and be honest with your addictions to suffering? Because that's essentially what our body is trying to tell us. Like, hey, you're addicted to suffering. Hey, this is stressing me out. Hey, I'm getting a twitch in my eye because I'm looking at too much information. Hey, I can't feel my thumb today because I've been on my phone so much. Like, your body speaks. Your body moment. Your body is such a deep intelligence that I can't even fathom. And so that's what I would say to people that are struggling right now. It's okay to be realistic. I'm not saying everything's rainbows and butterflies and forget it all. Like, yeah, go shoot a gun if you want to learn how to protect yourself. Go to a self-defense class. Like, get yourself some supplies. Like, whatever it is that you feel in the moment, great. Be realistic.
Yeah.
And at the same time, know when it's unhealthy and an over obsession, because God's law is all about what is right here, right now.
Yeah.
The wholeness. So there are opportunities and there are inheritance available to us in the now, that because you might be so fixated on the future and where we're going and everything, it could be robbing you from that. Yeah.
That's good. No, that's really good. It's like the illusion, the fear, all that stuff is just another word to say outside of now.
Yeah.
Right? Here, they want you there. And there can be yesterday, tomorrow, in the 1900s, our ancestors' times. There can also be 2025, 10 years ahead, one of these days, maybe one day, and all that is here right now. And it's so funny, the acronym for now, if you remove some letters, it's NWO, and that's what you fear. New world, you get it? So they take the simplest now. Huh?
I said be careful, you don't want to censor yourself.
That's what I'm saying. I learned the game. We got to learn the game here. But you guys know what I'm talking about. You have this, right? The now. I know it's backwards, but you guys get it. Now, right? Then you have New World, NWO, which everyone's terrified of. And then you have one more. One. And then you break it down, you have ONE. So right now brings you one, which is a new way to spell it, and then they take that and they actually re-scramble it and create a movement out of it to try to keep you paralyzed and in fear outside of the present.
Are you able to see the comments from people?
Yeah, I think. Yeah.
How many people are in the live right now?
80.
Oh yeah, mine's frozen right now. But you can I can't see the comments.
If you get I think there's question box if you guys want to do questions in a little bit too. We'll rapid fire. It's just it's outside the now. It's outside the now is where you're at. So anxiety is another way your body's saying, hey, come back to now. Depression is another way that we label it with our left brains to tell our body to come back to now. And fear is another way that we express it to come back to right now.
Yeah.
And so like question you can ask yourself is, how do I get back to right now? Well, if you put this phone down and look up, look around you, identify 20 things around you. That's your right now. There's nothing outside. There's nothing happening downstairs. There's nothing happening here or there. It's what is happening right now. So I love the way you put that. So like fear, anxiety, like all these labels, right? All these emotions and these feelings that our left brain labels. What if we didn't have the ability to label? What would these feelings of anxiety feel like? Well, because we have it a label, ANXIET, well, now you labeled something, therefore it can become something. That's where you create stories. You know, and I'm not here to say people don't have anxiety. That's not the point. The point is to realize that what would the feeling of anxiety and stress be if you didn't actually label it anxiety and stress? How would that feel?
Exciting.
And that's where your answers are going to come. And that's what we're looking to share with you guys. And that's becoming more present back in your water body, staying grounded. You know, then you go into the little list of things that can help you stay present, getting out of the mind, right? Letting that monkey mind slow down, getting more into balance. Because when you're there, there's no control over you. They can't control you in the present moment. So they find ways, like Jilly said, with law, commercial law, to take you out of the present moment. How do you get out of the present moment? Pump fear through mainstream media. How do you take people out of the present moment? Pump chemicals through all the foods and getting them imbalanced in their nervous system. How do you create fear in the present moment? Pesticides, heavy metals, stress, EMF, all these things that we're waking up to is designed to take you out of the present moment, because that's where you're controlled. That's where you no longer become one, right? You no longer become all those things. You're now dependent. You're now a victim. You're now a piece of product. You're now all these things because you let your mind declare it. That's why it's just so powerful.
We take questions.
Sure. Who's got a question? Fire away. Oh, there's a question box, I think. How do we do this?
Like the question, be able to see it. But like I said, mine froze.
Let's see. Here's one. Oh, do we click that? Oh, there we go. What to do when you feel paralyzed despite having goals and aspirations? I think you kind of answered that one.
Yeah. If you feel paralyzed, that's a sign of overstimulation. Put your phone down. Stop following accounts. Stop looking at YouTube videos. Stop looking at lives. Just stop with all the outside noise, because that's just like it's kind of a red flag. If you're feeling paralyzed, there's overstimulation happening. And analysis by paralysis, or whatever that quote is.
Well, this technology, these phones, these screens, even these laptops, if you're working on them, they're designed to actually extract you from the present. They're designed to pull you into the metaverse. They're designed to pull you into a world. Like, it's not our intention, right? Our intention is to empower you guys. However, you watching this, it's like you're coming into Jilly and I's reality in a way. So they do that with TV, with, you know, movies, with media, with Instagram, TikTok, all these things. Yes, that's good, and it could be an empowering way. It can also be a paralyzing way. That's so much of your life force, because I used to experience so much of your life force comes out of you and into these phone screens, and then the moment you put it down, it's like your battery's at 5%. And when your battery's at 5%, your apps work slower. You get no service. It's hard. Where's the plug in? And that's kind of how we feel as people, because we've used it so much.
It's all about mastering the online space and not letting it suck you of energy. Like,
not letting it master you.
Yeah, like master it. Don't scroll. Like, be very intentional with the people that I follow still. It's like I look at very specific things, and
Perfect. All right, let's see another one. Have you tried using your right brain to reprogram your left brain?
Yeah.
How would you want to share that one?
So I haven't tried. I have, Definitely. One thing that I will say is that, like Chris said in the beginning of this, is I'm quad R, so I'm all right brain, and I don't know how I do it. I just do it, and it's because I'm in my right brain. I'm like I I heal from things. I it's like, whoa, this limiting belief that I had about something random like building our retreat or something like that, like something big, a limiting belief like that, and I'll be like, okay, right brain, deal with this for me, because my left brain just doesn't even know what to do. And that's the funny thing for me, is I don't necessarily have to think about it because it's so organic for me now.
Yeah.
Although I used to be stuck in my left brain, um, it was a lot of faith. Faith,
Yeah.
but reprogrammed everything for me. Faith and trust. And I know you have your strategy that's more left brain.
Yeah. Well, you let go and let God.
Mhm.
So you're not supposed to know how you did it. A lot of us don't know how God works. And
Yes.
God is a name that you can create in many ways to say the word God, you know, Theos, Pat, like all these different etymology, because we tend to do the work of what our right brain can do, which is very powerful in itself. And then man, Jilly, the straw man of Jilly, not even Jilly. Jilly has no name. That Jilly's just, you know, it is a living, breathing, what is it, natural person. Exactly. We just happen to put her on a birth certificate, U.S. Corp, Social Security number, all that jazz. But that's your left brain making that story. That's where they hijack you. So it's hard to explain what the right brain does, like how the right brain heals. It keeps your heart beating, the unconscious, subconscious mind, and all things. Um, and I know another easy way people can break that down is like your zoom out lens. You see the big picture, like the whole piece, and then the left brain breaks it down into little squares, right? It's like you keep breaking it down more. You know, it turns 100 goes to 50, then to 25, then to 5, then the 2.5, then the 1.25, and then you keep going down and down and down and down. And a lot of us are stuck in that 0.000025, and we forget to zoom out. So that's that balance of zooming out and seeing, okay, well, hold on, I'm freaking out. Yet in reality, my birthday's tomorrow and I have friends coming over to see me. And we forget those things. We get so enamored by the zoom in, and then it's vice versa. We get so caught up in the zoom out, and we're so in the field, like just everywhere. And then we forget to just zoom in on what's present in our reality. So, yeah, there you go. She has done it. We all are doing it right now. So good.
There's
Let's
another,
see.
and how do you know who to unfollow? Just ask your right brain, ask your body, just feel it. Literally, like, just start asking yourself in that moment right then, do I unfollow this person? See what answer comes through. It's called insourcing. That's what I
There you
call it. It's just insource it.
go. Insourcing. There you go.
I don't know if I can like do anything with it. But if you guys want the link to our webinar, just DM one of us and we'll send it to you. Because some people are asking about that. Have you both reclaimed your strawman? If so, how long was your process? Took me about a year. Yes, I have. My birth certificate was authenticated and I have my trust, and I'm just privatizing everything right now. And I'm about to take Chris through that process. So, no.
Wee.
I'm excited because I get to redo it with him and I'm going to help him go through the process. So, yeah, he's very much like the good credit, paid taxes system type of
I'm
guy.
all left brain. I'm living in the matrix. I'm in the matrix, and I know how it works. And it's like literally, I got my Neo glasses on. I'm looking around, like, okay, I see that. I see that. I know how this works. I'm still here. I'm here to flip this ish inside out and come out better. Can you share the process? Yeah, we shared in our community. So we have tons of resources with our 90-day shower, our community, which has grown tremendously. So message us, message Jilly or I, and we'll share more about how you can be a part of it and how you can be on this mission with us. And that'll be
And
really good.
any tips of healing brain fog, water, just message us. We've got lots of stuff about water.
Yeah.
Um, and then
Can you see questions? Can you see them too?
I can see them.
Oh,
Yeah,
nice.
I just
Okay.
can't see them.
They keep coming in. Let's see.
Yeah. I isolated myself for so long and I'm craving real connection with people but can't find it around me. Find it within first. find it within first. If you're craving something, anytime I'm desiring something, I learn to alchemize that and bring it back to myself and allow myself to focus on that inner, and then it usually manifests once I insource it.
Yeah. One little thing I add that instead of finding, change it to seeing, and don't you're seeing with your mind, which is like seeing yourself. So
Yeah.
we're trying to find it around you. That's your eyes looking.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find it. Where is it? Nobody's around me.
Somebody.
You'll see it in you. When you see it in you first, you'll literally start to see it in other people who are around you. And you won't no longer have to find anymore, or seek, or look, or search, or hunt, right? Or whatever all these other terms our left brain likes to make it. The very things you'll start to see around you are the things you see inside of you. And those like-minded people that you're craving and calling and searching for, they're probably already around you. You just haven't noticed it yet because you haven't noticed it in yourself first. Great way to look at it. The eyes look, the mind sees, the heart leads. So
Yeah.
good.
Someone told me water is inorganic. Do you have any thoughts about that? When it comes to the organic information, like the Christic teachings and just the truth about the flower of death or whatever they call it, it really became a lot of dogma to me. So one thing that I've uncovered about water is that it is a mirror. So if you're inorganic, maybe it is inorganic. It's just something to tap into, because that's the thing, is that we as human beings look to label things so quick. And something that I've really tapped into for myself is just like, that's left brain. Like, okay, my brain is trying to label this so that I can know if it's good or bad. God God is the judge for me. So yeah. Um
Here's the next one on that topic. Oh, couldn't be shared.
what
Question was, where'd it go? Who is God in your opinion? There you go.
who is God?
That's the question.
Question. I mean, God is our creator. And I choose to leave it at that. I feel like that's the beautiful part about commerce, is that you learn about religious exemptions. You learn about everybody has the ability to build their own nations. And in commerce, there's something called a religious exemption, which basically means everybody has the right to have our own relationship with God. And what's man-made is religion and people saying that there's only one way. And that may be true. Like, people that read the Bible, and there's a lot of truth in the Bible. I'm not discrediting that at all. The main thing that I would say about that is, as soon as you start to tell another person what God is to you, and you're trying to project that reality on them, you're already violating their rights as God's child. So even if they are the same, right, as beliefs with other people, it's the fact that we honor each other's beliefs and
Yeah.
have our relationship with God ourselves. And there's even with you, like, I know we differ in certain beliefs and relationships in that way. So yeah, that's actually something I found really important in commerce, was
Yeah.
like, oh wow, like we all have the right to have our own relationship.
Exactly. That's why there's 5,000 plus religions. There's so many different things. And you said it best, is when you're telling someone how they should have a relationship with God, you're literally walking on the very things that are God given at birth, which is our own relationship that's unique. Before religion came in, just in the last, who knows how many, hundreds of years, so to speak. So it's like almost like an oxymoron. It's like you're telling someone to do something which goes against the very thing you're telling that person to do, from something more of the times than not, religion wise, only external.
Yeah.
Only external.
Again, left brain. It just,
Yeah.
even with just concepts that I won't get into too much here. But just anytime somebody's telling somebody else what to believe, even if it may be true for them, like there's such a thing called consent. And there's a
Yeah.
lot of people out here taking each other's consent. So yeah.
Sounds familiar what the government's doing. It's all micro of the macro, guys. What we do to each other is what the government does to us.
Yeah.
We fight with each other. Government really fights with us. They don't want us to wake
Are
up to this stuff.
are there more questions?
Yeah, there's another one. Do you see this one? I just did my gene keys. I'm quad left brain, but a projector. Does that explain why I'm all over the place, often being labeled depressed?
I mean, it could be for sure. You and Chris have a lot in common.
Yeah, I'm all left brain man, Jen. So be mindful of your life becoming the life of so many around you, especially as a projector, because everything you hear, your left brain may try to put a story to it and try to it's like you trying to hold 50 books walking out of the library each day, and then putting a expectation on yourself to read them all, become them before you go in the next day to the library again, and it gets exhausting. And so, how do you read a science fiction, fantasy, horror, thriller, sci-fi, kids, adventure, play, history book all in one day? We do that all the time with being overstimulated, and no wonder we're depressed, as we have now took ourselves out of the moment completely with all these stories we've heard. So that may help you. That might help you a little bit.
Yeah, and I would say the main thing that I noticed with Chris's left brain is just at any moment, just remind yourself to zoom out.
Mm-hmm.
His left brain is very zoomed in. He's this, and I'm like, just breathe and zoom out for a minute. So that I just noticed it helps a lot of left brain people.
There you go.
Will you offer a class on how to retain your strongman? Yes, I am in the midst of collaborating with somebody, so I refer people to her if you want more information on that. And yeah, in the near future for our community, we're going to be offering a course for our weight community. Are we going to make that available to the public? I don't know yet. We're still going through a lot of privatization, which you guys might have noticed. Wakewater Co. Took all of the posts off of the Instagram, and we're just privatizing a lot of things right now. So yeah, patience.
And speaking of that, someone asked, how do we find groups going off grid? Well, I mean, we're one of them eventually.
We're one of them, although we're not there yet.
No.
How do you find groups going off grid? I'm following a few accounts. I would just look up the hashtag off grid.
Yeah, it's a good way to start.
Off grid, you'll probably find some. Yeah, there's a lot of people in the process. And yeah.
Someone asked, do you think we all need to detox from social media? We would just change the words to feel and choose.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need anything. So there's that. You don't need anything. So rephrase that and say, do you feel that we all can choose to detox from social media? Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And it's, again, master it, man. Master social media. It's the best gift that you could ever give yourself. Just stop scrolling and
Yeah.
be
And that
with it.
Yeah, and that goes for any, like even a sport. You know,
Yeah.
someone doesn't live in the gym. They may say that, but they actually go home, they'll go eat dinner, they'll take a week off, they'll take a break off. And then those breaks, a lot of insight comes in too. So remember, like how you do one thing, you do a lot of different things.
Yeah.
You know, some people detox from eating, do a little fast.
Yeah.
You could take a break and detox from communication, relationships, go in nature by yourself.
Haven't eaten today, have you?
Me?
Yeah. Did you eat yet?
No.
Okay.
How we vibe. We just flow.
We'll have dinner soon.
I'll do a couple more. Let's see, and then we'll wrap this up.
Right.
What's another one? I think that's about it. We've pretty much answered. We'll repost this, sure.
There's a bunch of emails in here. Do you want to screenshot them?
Those are from that's for the Science Water webinar tomorrow.
Oh.
Yeah. So if you guys want to come learn about water tomorrow at 5:30, hosting a webinar for an hour. That's going to go in depth of all things water. It's fun. Come and learn.
There's a question.
What do we got?
your thoughts on traumas. Are we meant to heal all of them?
Mm.
That's a good question that I would invite every person to ask themselves.
There you go.
We're all different. We all have different traumas. And one thing I would say is that the best medicine I've ever given myself is the opportunity to heal by taking action. It goes back to what we were saying about being overstimulated and paralyzed.
Mm-hmm.
You're paralyzed and you're in I call it the hamster wheel of healing. Oh, I always have to be healed. Something's always wrong with me. I have to heal before I do something.
Yeah.
That's fragmentation, because again, you're not broken. You're already whole. So if you're already whole and you just got little cracks and you take action, the healing comes in the motion of life, in the movement of life. For me. Yeah.
Beautiful. Beautiful, beautiful. Remember, a lot of parts of you guys are in fact healed, right? And to know that it's not always a bad thing. You know, it can be a blessing. There's gifts in the midst of a lot of uncertainty. There's gifts in a lot of traumas. You know, it's just like Jilly said, you navigating it and going through it and feeling it. Each step will your trauma will turn into like a treasure map for someone else, because it's truly empowering. Doesn't mean for you to go through the trauma or experience it or face it however you do and then discard it. You guys, with these traumatic experiences that many of us have gone through, it's because you're kind of getting all the cobwebs off a treasure map. We feel like the cobwebs are who we are, not the treasure map below it, because your trauma literally is treasure. And remember that, right? Your pain is potential. There's so many amazing words that you're one shift away. All right, your setback is your comeback. Your failure is your feedback. Your mistakes is your masterpiece. Your trauma are your teachings. And those are in the moment words that you can upgrade in real time, that your subconscious hears and truly coming out better in so many ways, which is really good. Some of you guys were asking, huh?
I just said, here we go.
We've been going since 5 a.m. We've been flowing. It's been a day. Two last things. Yes, the water webinar is tomorrow, Tuesday, 5:30 Pacific on Zoom. Send Jilly and I a DM if you're following us, and we'll give you the link. We'd love to have you join. We've been doing these for years. It's just educating people. It's so powerful. It's so powerful. And then I think someone asked about crypto. Year 2022, get your ISO coins, XRP, XLM, XDC, Algo, Quant, and the Flare Network. You guys would be good money. Thank me later.
Coming soon. I've
What?
been into the NFTs. My brother actually contacted me. I forgot to tell you that he wants to help me set up NFTs.
Oh my gosh, here we go, guys.
Random.
The future's happening and changing fast. So
yeah,
this was great. I think that's everything. So good. All right, you guys. Well, we don't want to jump on. Jilly and I just like, all right, we'll go flow. So we'll do more of these. Promise you. I'll probably do another one Wednesday. I'll have a more specific topic, and then we'll be on back and forth on Jilly and I. We'll do some reels, joint reels. Huh?
I said 90 days, baby. 90
We're here.
days.
We're going to give you guys everything. I'm going to share with you. Make it happen. Come out better. The Water Priestess.
Love y'all.
Love you. I love you too. See you guys.